So you get your first job. If it's a private job, you'll have, a 401k, probably. If it's a government job or a nonprofit job, then you might have a 403b, 457b, maybe a 401a, all these things we've been talking about. But for many reasons, that 401k maybe isn't worthwhile to you, or there may be something wrong with it. Maybe you'll fit one of these 5 scenarios. Maybe you don't have a 401k. You might not have a 401k because maybe you're not vested yet. Remember, a lot of times jobs don't give you the option to contribute to a 401k right away. Maybe you're a part-time employee. You don't have a 401k available to you. Some firms don't offer one at all. Or maybe you're self-employed. If you're self-employed, really a lot of the rules change. You certainly want to have access to a 401k. A second possibility, your 401k doesn't have a match. That doesn't make the 401k invalid. It just means the 401k kind of doesn't do anything special for you. So you may choose just to ignore the 401k. A third possibility, maybe you have a 401k with very high fees. That's very possible. Certainly, if you work for a government, a lot of times their 403bs have very high fees. So you might say, it's offered to me with no match, and it's kind of not worth it. You expect to leave your job pretty soon. You might be hired to do contract work, or maybe you get your first job and you think, I can already tell this is just going to be a stepping stone for me. It doesn't offer a match anyway. So even though you have the 401k, again, you might just say, I don't want to deal with that effort right now. Or perhaps the fifth one here, you want to tax shelter even more money, okay? So you've already hit your $19,500 limit with your 401k. You decide you'd like to save even more. For all of these reasons and some more very important reasons, you'll find that you might, instead of contributing to a 401k, or in addition to contributing to a 401k, choose to put money in an individual retirement account, which no one calls an individual retirement account. Everyone calls it an IRA. I had to look up the acronym because so few people actually use that term. You probably heard instead of an IRA. We're going to talk about a traditional IRA, which probably is relevant for these potential scenarios here. And then we'll talk about the Roth IRA. And it turns out the Roth IRA is the really powerful one. So even if you don't fit any of these scenarios, I'm telling you, you will contribute to a Roth IRA. If you ever want to be wealthy in the future, a Roth IRA is something you're going to use. All of my friends who are good at personal finance put money in the Roth IRA. It is a tremendously good plan. But let's start with the traditional IRA. So, we've talked about 401ks, 403bs. All of those are connected to your employer. And maybe the first thing to recognize is with a traditional IRA, which is what we're going to start with here. So we're just going to kind of go through just some rules and discuss each of these rules as we run through it, and hopefully we'll get a good idea for how an IRA works. Again, we're going to start with a traditional IRA. And the first thing you probably want to recognize is this is not connected to your employer. All right? And if you're wondering why am I just talking about the traditional, right? Traditional means you're not going to pay taxes on that income now, but you will pay taxes on it in the future. Why am I just talking about the traditional? Well, it turns out for whatever reason, when they were building the tax code, they made the traditional and the Roth pretty different in some very key ways. And we need to basically just separate them entirely. Even though they're both IRAs, traditional and Roth, they're so different that I basically conceptualize them as different entities in my mind. It's not connected to your employer in any way, shape, or fashion, okay? So what that means is it's independent of your job. And that's generally a good thing. The fact that it's independent of your job basically means that let's say you've worked for 5 different companies and you've had 3 401ks and 2 457bs in your lifetime. Well, the IRA, it's disconnected entirely from that discussion. It's not a 40 anything plan. It's its own separate entity. So if you open up an IRA, you don't have to worry about changing jobs and how that affects it. You don't have to worry about trying to roll over a 401k into your new employer account or something. It is totally separate, all right? That being said, despite the fact that it is separate from your employer, you do have to make money to contribute to an IRA. So you must earn income to contribute. So if you, for example, if you earned $10 in income this year, you could contribute up to $10 of that money into your IRA, into your traditional IRA. So if you haven't earned any income in 2020, you're not eligible for traditional IRA. Okay. The maximum contribution is a lot smaller than the 401k and related plans. It's $6,000 as of 2020. It went up $500 last year, so it's $6,000 is your maximum contribution. Okay, and remember, this is traditional. So what that means is you put money into this account and you avoid paying taxes now. This is a little bit different from a 401k because remember, this is not connected to your employer. So the way this is handled is your contributions basically retroactively reduce your taxable income. All right. So what that means is, with an employer-sponsored plan like a 401k or those other related plans, your employer will pay you and say, look, we're putting money in to this 401k, so we're going to go ahead and take out less taxes when we pay you. All right. So they pay you and they say, well, since some of this money is going into a 401k, we're going to give you more than we otherwise would because we know your tax burden is lower. With a IRA, instead, the way it works is you're going to pay your taxes as if you're not contributing to an IRA, but when you file for your taxes the following year, you will then retroactively be charged less in taxes. All right. So if you know anything about the way the tax system works, tax day is normally right around April 15th of the following year. So for the 2020 year, your tax day that you have to file your taxes by is April 15th of 2021. So essentially, in April 15th of 2021, when you file your taxes, you would be sure to make note of your traditional IRA contributions, and that would retroactively reduce the amount of taxes you pay in that year. All right. Again, the reason they have to do that is because this is not connected to your employer. So you have to handle it on your taxes, which is, kind of annoying, but it's much simpler than a lot of other things you have to worry about with your tax system. So yeah, it's not connected to your employer in any way. So of course, there's going to be no match, right? There's never going to be any kind of match on an IRA because the IRA doesn't have anything to do with your employer. It's all just about reducing your taxes. Just like the 401k and such, it only reduces income taxes. It doesn't do anything for your Social Security taxes or Medicare taxes. So you're going to keep paying those. So basically, if your income is $100,000 and you contribute $4,000 to a traditional IRA, well then the tax system is going to think that you have $96,000 in taxable income. And again, that's just related to your income taxes. In regards to your federal and state income taxes, you'll be taxed as if you have $96,000 in income. And in regards to your Social Security and Medicare taxes, again, you'll be taxed as if you have $100,000 in income, which is just like the 401k and the related plans that we've discussed. A bit more about the traditional IRA here. Your funds are eligible to you at 59.5. Again, that's the same as the 401k, 403b, and 401a, but it's different from the 457b, if you recall. So funds are available to you at age 59.5. If you withdraw earlier than that, you'll face a penalty, but there are like hardship rules that apply. So if you get really sick or something, you can access these earlier. Couple more notes here. It does have RMDs, required minimum distributions, which means when you hit a certain age, you got to start taking these funds out. I believe that's age 72 right now. And that might be just about everything. One more note. it can, in a way, collide with a 401k. I'm just going to make a very quick note of this. If you're saving a ton of money in a 401k or 403b or whatever, there's some rules, some kind of obscure rules that basically, if you put a bunch of money into a 401k, it might change how the IRA works. All right. It depends on your income level. It's a law that'll probably change over time. But right now, if you're putting $19,500 in your 401k, you're going to want to look into the rules to make sure that you can also put money in your IRA to get the same tax benefits. I'm not going to go in depth in that because that's something not a lot of people are going to do. And you probably won't do with your first job, but you might in your 40s or so. Let's say you're making, $200 grand a year. You might decide you really want to save a lot of money in these tax advantage accounts. Just make sure you figure out what the rules are that apply to you at that point in time. All right, so that is the traditional IRA. To be perfectly honest with you guys, this is a plan that you probably won't do. I'm teaching a class right now with 50 in it. If I had to guess, maybe 2 or 3 people in the class decide to use the traditional IRA. Nonetheless, it is an option. Okay, and if you don't have a 401k, well, then that's going to increase the probability that you would choose to use one of these accounts. So that's the traditional IRA. Now let's talk about an account that just about all of you will use. If you're not using this, if I talk to you 20 years from now and you're like, I'm not using a Roth IRA, I'm going to be like, well, you're not doing a very good job of preparing for retirement, because a Roth IRA is an unbelievable plan. Remember, we're just trying to get wealthy, right? Let's make you wealthy right now. Let me teach you about the Roth IRA. All right, remember, Roth means that you pay taxes now, right? A Roth plan means you go ahead and pay income taxes now, and you won't pay taxes in the future, all right? That's how a Roth 401k works. That's how a Roth IRA works. There's a lot similar about the traditional and Roth IRA. There's a $6,000 contribution limit. One kind of thing to recognize, it's not so obvious. A $6,000 Roth contribution is actually more money than a $6,000 traditional contribution in a way. Because remember, it takes more than $6,000 to earn $6,000 of taxed income. For a lot of people, it takes $9,000 in income, roughly, to create $6,000 in income that has been taxed. So if you put $6,000 in this account, that is more, in a way, than having $6,000 in a traditional account. So that is more money than it seems like, because it's already been taxed, okay? So there's a $6,000 contribution limit. I'll tell you right now, I max this out every single year. You can put $6,000 in. To me, this is one of my highest priorities to get money into this account. There are income limits for eligibility. They're pretty high, but not so high that you might not eventually hit them. The rules on this get kind of complicated, but let's say in the future, maybe you're making $150,000, $200,000 a year. This plan might not be available to you. It's much more complicated than I want to discuss in this class, but just know if your income is very high, this can go away. All right, so there is an income limit. As with the traditional, there's no RMDs, no required, the traditional had required minimum distributions. This one doesn't, which is a good thing. It means if you're putting money in your Roth IRA, there's no rules about having to take it out, which means this is a good plan if you want to leave money to somebody after you die. I'll just make mention of that now, that this is a good account to have money in because it's favorably handled. You can let it stay built up and not have to worry about pulling from it if you live a long time. It probably doesn't matter to you right now, this 20-year-old watching the video, but it can save thousands in terms of what you leave your kids. Let me get into now what is so nice about the Roth IRA, okay? And this is what differentiates it from the other plans. No RMDs, that's unique, kind of good, not a big deal, but this is a big deal to everyone. You can withdraw your contributions, only your contributions, all right? I'll say what that means in a second. You can withdraw your contributions at any time for any reason. All right? What I mean by this is, all right, let's say that you've contributed $6,000 in 2020, And let's say it's just a one-time contribution. In 2020, you have a really good year, you make a bunch of money, so you put $6,000 in your account and you don't make any more contributions. And so in the year 2025, let's say there's been some good stock market growth and you now have $11,000 in your account. Remember, first of all, you're not ever going to have to worry about any kind of taxes on this. It's Roth, right? So if you withdraw from this account, you're not going to face any sort of tax, which is nice, right? In this case, in 2025, even if you're only 25 years old, 30 years old, whatever, you can withdraw $6,000. So you can withdraw $6,000 regardless of the reason. And it's easy. You just go into your account and just withdraw the money out. All right, I've done it. I've withdrawn money out. I bought a house, wasn't expecting to buy a house, but we bought one, just withdrew all my contributions out. It's nice because the other types of retirement accounts, you can't do that. So this may not seem like such a big deal because you might be thinking, well, if you need the money, why not just put it in a bank account or something? Well, this money's invested, all right? And if I decide not to take it out, I don't ever have to worry about taxes. But if I do pull it out, I can withdraw the $6,000 and the remaining $5,000 that's in my account just continues to grow tax-free. So it provides a tremendous amount of flexibility. Okay, the Roth IRA is fantastic. You can put money in it as a retirement plan, but then still access some of it if you need it. It's a great place to keep your money. You may have heard of people mention emergency funds, this idea of keeping a bunch of money available to you. Well, the Roth IRA is my emergency fund. If I need money for any reason, I can always withdraw my contributions. The only weird caveat is if it loses value, of course, you can only withdraw what's in it. So if in 2025 you find that there's only $4,000 in your account, well, you can only withdraw the $4,000, but you know, that's the risk of investing, that it could go down in value, and chances are it won't. So you can withdraw your contributions at any time for any reason, and your gains, right, which in this case would be like the $5,000, are available at 59.5. Okay, so you can still get those gains out at what would normally be considered a regular retirement age. So let's think about comparing the traditional, let's think about a Roth 401k compared to a Roth IRA. Okay, in my eyes, the Roth IRA is better, period. The only way a Roth 401k is better than a Roth IRA is if you're getting a company match. If you're not getting a match, the Roth IRA is better, because it is the same in a lot of ways, but then it's better in other ways. It's better because there are no RMDs, which is, kind of a big deal, but not a huge deal. It's better because you can withdraw your contributions, which to me is a tremendously important thing. It means way more flexibility, okay? And that's not all. Let's just spell out some of the benefits here. So this is the benefits, again, of a Roth IRA relative to Roth 401k and other versions of that account. Most of you will have a 401k, that's why I'm focusing on that. So the benefits, with the Roth IRA, you can withdraw your contributions. That is not available with a Roth 401k. This should only be a benefit, okay? Because you can also still choose to leave it in, so it's just giving you flexibility. This is like a benefit with no cost. You can withdraw if you want, but you don't have to. So this is great. You've got no RMDs, which is kind of nice, right? Not a big deal, but kind of nice. Third, you can choose where to invest, what company to use or vendor to use. Vendor kind of being the industry term that's often used. Vendor being like those Fidelities and Charles Schwab's that we've mentioned before. You could go to your bank and open one. All right. Now, why would it be so nice that you can go to your bank to open one, or go to Vanguard or go to Fidelity? Why would it be nice that you can choose? Well, what this means is you can choose one that you really like that has the perfect investment options for you, which usually means you can get low fees. Right? There are literally thousands of companies where you can set up a Roth or traditional IRA. So that means if your company's kind of got a crappy 401k, well, just set up a Roth IRA instead. All right, it's already better in a lot of ways, but you can choose one with low fees. And as a fourth and final one, I'm just going to say the convenience factor as well. Chances are whatever job you're working at, when you're in your 20s, you're probably going to leave, which means you're going to have this 401k that you have to track over time and make sure you don't lose. Well, with a Roth IRA, it doesn't matter if you've changed jobs because it's not connected to your employer, right? So if you change jobs, well, that has no bearing at all on your Roth IRA. So the Roth IRA is really nice. Let me also say right now, a lot of you that are taking this class right now, you're more motivated than you will be in your future, right? In terms of retirement, you're learning things that maybe you didn't already know. So for a lot of you, if you have income that the government knows about, right? You earn some money. Now, if you got paid to babysit and you didn't tell the government about it, technically you're supposed to most of the time, but if you didn't, IRAs aren't available to you. But let's say you worked for Georgia College as a tutor and you made $3,000. Well, the government will know about that, and now you become eligible for an IRA. Would you want to do a traditional IRA right now? You think? No. Traditional IRA, terrible deal because your tax burden is really nothing, okay? But a Roth IRA is a really good deal. If you got, $2,000 right now sitting in your account and you're thinking, I don't know what to do with this $2,000, put it into a Roth IRA. You'll never pay taxes on it again. And in 5 years from now, you say, I really wish I had that $2,000 back. Well, then you can go withdraw it because Roth IRAs give you the ability to withdraw anytime, okay? I just happen to think of one more benefit here that I left off. Let me refer back to this. One last benefit of the Roth IRA, this also applies to the traditional IRA. You have until tax day the following year to put money into one of these accounts, which is not the case for 401ks. So you can contribute up to usually April 15th the following year. So what that means is April 14th, 2020, you could contribute to your 2019 IRA, which might not sound like a big deal, but I find it actually, it's really helpful because it's nice to have that extra little window there of flexibility. Basically, I can wait until the last second to put money into my Roth IRA just to make sure that's what I want to do, okay? So this is a nice extra benefit. And while we're on that topic right now, if you're watching this in 2020, they have extended this because tax day has been pushed back. So actually right now, you can contribute to your 2019 Roth IRA. So if you wanted to be like really proactive right now, open up a 2019 Roth IRA. Go to your bank and ask about it. Join Vanguard or Fidelity, companies that really do a good job of providing low-cost index funds. Put some money into your 2019 Roth IRA. What a tremendous way to start your retirement plan.